And so now for all of you children, especially today because you are back for the first time after so long, I would like to show you the importance of attending Mass or even going to church for Mass, especially on Sundays. I want to show you children the value, the true value of the Mass. So I will tell you a story. And this story also applies to all of us adults. It is also important for us to listen and to take a good look at the meaning of the story. This story actually is a true story. It was told by a priest. A certain Father Stanislaw to an old nun. Father Stanley, we call him easier to understand. Father Stanley, he said, one day, many years ago, in a little town in Luxembourg, a captain, an army captain, was in deep conversation with a butcher when an elderly old woman entered the shop. The butcher broke off the conversation to ask the old woman what she wanted. She had come to beg for a little piece of meat, but she had no money. So the captain, the army captain, he was amused at the old lady and also at the butcher what he was going to do. He thought to himself, he wondered to himself, just a little small piece of meat, but I am going to see how much are you going to give to her. The old woman told the butcher, but I'm sorry, I have no money, but I will hear Mass for you. You see, in olden days, we always say, have you heard Mass? Have you gone to Mass? I will hear a Mass for you. Both the butcher and the captain, they were indifferent about religion. So they at once began to scoff, to make fun of the old lady's idea. But the butcher, he said to the old lady, all right then, you go and hear Mass for me, and when you come back, I will give you as much as the Mass is worth. So the old lady left the shop and a while later returned. She approached the counter and the butcher said to her, all right then, we'll see. He took a piece of paper, a small piece of paper, and he wrote on that piece of paper, I heard a Mass for you. He then placed the piece of paper on the scales and a piece of tiny bone on the other side, a scale. But nothing happened. Next, he placed a piece of meat instead of that small little bone, but still the paper proved heavier. Both men, the army captain and the butcher, they'll begin to feel ashamed of their mockery, but they continued to play their game. A larger piece of meat was placed on the balance, but still the paper held its weight. The butcher, anxious and irritated, he examined the scales and found that they were all right. So angrily he said to the woman, what do you want, my old woman? Must I give you a whole leg of mutton? At this, he placed a leg of mutton on the balance, but the paper outweighed the meat. A larger piece of meat was put on, but again the weight remained on the side of that paper. This so impressed the butcher that he was converted, and he promised to give the old woman her daily ration of meat. As for the captain, he left the shop a changed man, and he became an ardent lover of daily mass. He went to mass every day, and 2 of his sons became priests, one a Jesuit and the other a father of the Sacred Heart. Father Stanley, he finished his story by saying, "I am from the religious order of the Sacred Heart, and the captain was my father." So you see, my dear brothers and sisters, from this incident, the army captain became a daily mass attendant, and his children were trained to follow his example. Later, when his sons became priests, he advised them to say Mass well every day and never miss the sacrifice of the Mass through no faults of their own. Now, to all of us, to those who used to miss Mass, think again. You see, nothing can outweigh the value of the Mass. Nothing is heavier, nothing is more valuable than the Holy Mass. So don't miss Mass ever again.